Tonight we call upon Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft, crossroads, and the in-between. She is the keeper of keys, the walker of shadows, and the guide for those who dare to wander the liminal spaces. But before we begin, let us invoke her presence with a chant. Hecate, queen of the night, bearer of keys, our guiding light, goddess of shadow, mystery, and flame, we call your power, we speak your name. Hecate, Hecate, Hecate.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's Alyssa.
And Heather.
And we're recording in the morning. So that means we have energy.
We do.
We
We have coffee.
have coffee and muffins and energy.
I made muffins, but I would love to say I made homemade, but honestly, Dunkin' Hines. Dunkin' Hines blueberry muffins are legit the best I've ever had.
It tastes like a homemade muffin.
Yeah.
So
They come with a little can of blueberries in their sauce, and it's like the most delicious thing ever. And you add them, and it's just what makes it.
So
And I actually
nice.
leave a lot of people. It says drain it. I actually leave some of the liquid in there,
It's a
so
good
it
idea.
so
it's
it
super
incorporates.
moist and delicious.
Yep.
I hate the freaking Dunkin' Donuts ones with all the sugar on top. I hate
The
sugary
crunch?
top. Yes.
Like it's like.
Ugh. It's disgusting.
I don't mind a crumble top. A crumble
Uh-huh.
top's good. I don't like a sugar.
sugar.
Like
is
where you're
not
like
it.
eating a soft muffin and you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's not.
Mhm.
It's not good.
I hate it. So
Yeah.
today, as you can tell, we are going to talk about the deity. She's a deity. Deity. A deity. She's like a deity.
She is. An interesting thing I found. Well, we'll see. Like I didn't know she was older than the
Oh.
Olympian gods and goddesses. Yeah,
Oh,
I had
shit.
no idea. She goes back to the Titans.
Whoa.
Yeah. But
Damn, that's
we're gonna
cool.
talk. I thought it'd be really fun to kind of delve into all the different.
Yes. Gods, goddesses,
Yeah.
deities,
Yeah. You know,
demons.
demons?
There's demon work.
she's actually considered to be demon.
Mhm.
So
I know she's like the darker side.
She is the darker side,
Mhm.
yeah. But it's interesting, yeah. There's like Lilith. Lilith is another one
Yeah.
that,
Abaddon.
yeah. I mean, but even going into like Aphrodite and Zeus and,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of deities and gods and goddesses that are not covered they're very seldom evoked
Yeah.
or brought, upon. But it's like interesting when I started diving into Hecate because like I know Hecate, like obviously she is typically one of the ones that comes and works with witches.
Mhm.
But that's not all she does.
No.
That's not all she is.
I think she's probably one of the most well known,
she is.
right? I think she's
Um,
well, maybe not well known.
I think, yeah. 'Cause,
Maybe
like-
to me, within the people I know, a lot of people
yeah.
work with her,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like, well known is probably not the right word.
I hear Lilith a lot,
Yeah.
which makes sense. But then I also noticed that a lot of like people that practice paganism and witchcraft and stuff, they actually evoke Hermes, Aphrodite, that come to them. They want to work Apollo. It's a huge one, which is interesting because like you just don't think about.
Yeah, that's
To
not one.
me, yeah.
I
Yeah.
never thought of him.
No, or Hermes. Like,
Apollo's a boy, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Apollo,
yeah.
Hermes, Zeus, they're all boys.
Yeah.
Aphrodite, Hera. Hera is really interesting. Like
Yes.
she's when I learned her story from my books Lore Olympus here,
Ooh.
which I like Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Again,
Yes.
we kind of talked on the last podcast like what my belief is with these gods and goddesses and like what I think they actually represent. But I'm really into like Greek mythology, and I found this it's on Webtoons, I think is what it's called. This writer wrote this love story between Hades and
Ooh.
Persephone and completely recreated, but it's like literally it's I'm obsessed with her writing and what she
Do
did.
people work with Hades?
Yeah, they do.
Really? That's an
crazy.
interesting. I kind of maybe
The
I'll do
god of
him.
underworld. Yeah.
Maybe I'll do him
Yeah.
next, 'cause that I don't know anything about people
No.
working with him, so I kind of want to talk about him.
His story is interesting too, depending on where you're coming from.
Mhm.
It has like different versions. So versions of like, well, I mean, his dad ate him. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
his dad was a Titan and his dad ate him.
Shit, damn.
Yeah. It's a very, but it's like, I kind of want to dive in because like, I'm like, what things are allegory or like, like they're not like what is that called? Is it allegory? I think
don't
it's
know.
allegory where it's like, not, it's not actually like, okay, he actually ate him, you know?
Mhm.
What things
An
are
analogy?
an analogy, thank
Mhm.
you. What things are an analogy
Right.
and what things are legit? Because
Mhm.
when you read into a lot of these like ancient gods and goddesses and you start reading, you're like, this is weird. Like,
Yeah.
but if you really start breaking it down, you're like, what does this mean emotionally? Or what
Yeah.
does this
What
mean?
is it an analogy
Yeah,
for?
yeah. What is an
What
analogy for by his dad ate him? Like maybe it was that his dad, cast him to the side or
Yeah.
didn't care about him and because basically his dad ate him to for his own power, you know? Like,
Interesting.
yeah. So
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what that means.
also Hades and Zeus are
Rival
brothers.
Aren't they like rivals
Yeah,
or
but they're
brothers?
also
Why is
brothers.
that such a thing?
I know.
It's like stepbrothers.
Yep.
Or I guess the right one would be the actual brothers, how they like hate each other. I don't know.
Hate but love each other.
Yes.
So, sorry. Have to clear out my morning phlegm. No, I was kidding.
Me. That's still me. My morning phlegm. Dude, I saw the funniest TikTok the other day. It was like a guy when like the girlfriend stays over for the first time and he
Yeah.
wakes up, he's like, "Good morning, beautiful." And she goes, "Good morning." I was like, why is that me? My nasty morning voice.
But that would be me like I would never I have comfort over everything. So like if I was to stay over for the first time, so I'm like I'm not going to wake up all like
No.
beautiful. I'll be like
I'm like a gremlin. Like
like
I don't want to be up.
hunchback. Like let me go to the bathroom. But I have to wear like I'm not going to wear pants when I go to bed for me.
Same.
Even if I just like even if it's my first time staying over, like
Yep.
I'm not going to
can't.
do any of that.
I can't do it.
No.
I can't. I'm
No.
not gonna be in something cute.
No.
It's gonna be a baggy, huge t-shirt and underwear.
Yes. Unless it's fucking cold, then I'm going to have on
Yes.
something warmer, but I'm still not going to have pants on.
I got my dog hair in my mouth.
It could be my bunny hair too.
It's everything with us.
Oh, that's my muffin.
Oh.
Yay.
That's my muffin. I'm stupid in the morning.
That's what he said. That's my muffin. I just did it with your morning voice. That's my muffin.
I did that this morning with Kylie. I said something like so, I don't remember what word it was, but I said it so deep, and I was like, "Why did I sound like a man?" All right.
I woke up. No, I'm just gonna say one more thing. I woke up and I'm like, it was like 7 o'clock. I wish I could sleep in past that.
Yeah.
Fuck, I wish I could sleep in past that. But I have a muffin in my mouth. Hold on.
That's what he said.
And she.
I got a muffin in my mouth. Hold on.
That's what they say.
Yes.
I was like, oh, because I'm slugging.
Yeah.
So great.
Mhm.
Like, I love it. I went one night without doing it, and I'm like,
You can tell a difference.
I can tell the difference. So I'm slugging, and so I woke up, and I was like, okay. Well, actually, funny story. I woke up thinking it was like 7 o'clock the first time. So I went in to get my wipe all that off, and then I like looked and it was 2 a.m. and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
I didn't reapply because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go to bed. And then I woke up and I did. Like, I'm really into like skincare,
Yes.
like, but it's funny because it's like the process of it is super relaxing.
We should do that next time we're all over, me, you, and Ebba. We
We
all do
really
face.
should.
I have like the clay one that's so
Yes.
good on your face.
It's just the process of it all, like doing the different stuff. I put my milky toner on. I'm like, putting all the stuff in. It's just the process. So I did that at 7 a.m. And then I was like, what do I do now?
It's like, now what?
What do I do?
I'm ready. Leave it to you to get like 3 hours of sleep. It's like Elf, where he's like, I got a full 45 minutes.
It's like people think I'm crazy. They're always like, there's no way. I'm like,
No, you
I
do.
can't sleep in. I can't get more than 6 or 7.
Because you're just too excited for the day.
I really am, but like my body itself is like, bing,
That's
like,
crazy.
whoop, here we are. It's time to
Ready.
wake up. Yeah.
Ready to
And
do
it's usually
things.
at 6 or 7 hours. 7's like good. 6 hours, I'm good too, but 7's like I slept in.
That's crazy. See,
I
I need a
know.
minimum of like 9.
No, I
Which is
feel
insane.
so sick if I do a 9 hours.
Oh,
Like
great.
if I'm sleeping 9 hours, you need to put me in the hospital.
Like she's ill.
Like I am ill. There's something wrong. But I really am
So
ill for about a
funny.
full 45
You are.
minutes because I'm like, ha!
I'm ready.
Like yesterday, really quick. And that's never quick. I was driving home and I got like real tired at 3. And I was like, I'm really tired. I'm gonna go take a nap. Girl, I got home and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap. I go lay down and I close my eyes and I'm like, okay,
I'm done.
I didn't even go to sleep. I was like,
Nap over.
okay, I'm done.
I wish. I freaking wish.
Oh my God.
And have you always been that way?
Always. I've never,
I'm
even when I was
Your mom's that way
yeah,
too.
she is. So it's got to be something genetic
Yeah.
because everyone's like, it's so bad for you to get so little sleep. I'm like, but
I think some people are just different.
yeah.
I because I can see it works for you.
Mhm.
For me, like I feel like I'm gonna die, but also I feel like I'm gonna die even when I get 9 hours. So I think I just
You're
want.
just gonna
I kind of just want. Small.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you one more thing. But I can get dual citizenship to Canada.
How?
My dad is a Canadian citizen. He was born there, and then he's always had dual citizenship.
Okay.
So he came into America when he was 22.
Mhm.
And so I was looking it up because I'm sorry, the way
Yes,
things are
I know.
going, I'm like, I need to know my
You
options.
need a backup plan.
I do. So I was looking it up,
Mhm.
and me and all, like everyone of my
Mhm.
kids can have dual citizenship to Canada. $500. That's all it is.
What?
That's all it is. And you can, because he is him, my grandparents, they all have my my
Wow.
grandparents migrated. Canada didn't have a problem. Just gonna
Yeah.
put that out there. Um and so but they had all of their kids in Canada. So my dad is a citizen of Canada. Like he is
That is
that.
so cool.
So
wait,
five
so you're I can't get it because my grandma was, but my mom can get dual citizenship, and then I could get dual citizenship from my
Yep,
mom.
correct. That's what it is. It's a trickle down. So I can get it because my dad,
Mhm.
and then my kids can get it because of
That's
me.
so
So we
cool.
can be well. Anyways, Haven was like, "Oh my gosh, I want dual citizenship."
Yeah.
He was like
Oh,
talking about it.
same.
He goes and talks to my mom, and my mom like texted me the weirdest shit. She was like, "Heather, I'm just really concerned that Haven wants to go to Canada because in Canada, if you're depressed and you decide you want to kill yourself, they're not going to bring you back."
What?
They're just going to let you be despondent. And I'm like, okay. Like, it's just like, I don't know what to tell you. A lot of people kill themselves everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, she's acting like that. I just don't even know I'm like, what
What?
is this message you're sending me right now? Like she's
Isn't it
like,
the
they
same
don't
here?
even care. No, it's
That's
not
not
that
true.
they do
They
care.
do. They let you have. I mean, I don't know. This is a whole other.
It
This is a
is.
whole other
But I'm
rant.
just
But
saying, like,
yeah,
it's like she was just basically telling me that she thinks Haven's really depressed and it'd be really
she
dangerous.
thinks he wants to go to Canada to kill himself. Oh my
I
god.
didn't even call back. I'm like, I can't. And I text Haven. I was like, look, grandma's sick and she's going to stay up nights and nights and nights thinking about how you're going to go over to Canada and kill yourself. So please tell grandma you're not going to Canada.
Canada is
And
beautiful
Dad's been there many
too.
times.
I
My
love
dad
it.
we always, because we lived in Michigan
Yeah.
when I turned, senior year,
Yeah.
we moved there, but it's right there in the border. So
Mhm.
we always were going into Canada.
Yeah.
All this. I don't think I'd want to live in Ontario if I did.
No.
I like Toronto or Vancouver. Like, there's some places that I think of.
I've
Peely Island's really, really beautiful. Not very big though.
I've only been to Newfoundland because that's where my
Mhm.
family is. I've never been. I think I was in St. John's before. That was okay. I don't want to be anywhere near Quebec.
No.
Period.
No.
Not for me. Sorry, Quebecians, if you aren't one.
Well, here's my thing.
Not my thing.
So since your mom can get dual citizenship,
Mhm.
even though I know she would have,
I know.
but get her to get it so
Yeah.
you can get it. And I'm just saying, good backup plan. Have
But
it
I
in your
think
back
I
pocket.
personally think, why would you not have dual citizenship even if you can? Even if you want to live in
Exactly.
America,
Exactly.
why would you
I'm
not
saying,
want that?
just tell your mom. Be like,
Yeah.
hey, we have the option to have this.
Uh-huh.
So just get it. $500.
That's
You can get dual
crazy.
citizenship.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I'm just saying, get it. Like, so that way you
know.
have it in my whole point is my back pocket. Pull
Yeah.
it out and be like, oh, things are real bad. Bye bye. Like, I don't belong here. I'll see you
Yeah.
guys later.
Yep.
So, anyways, all right, guys, that's a big chatty chat. I'm very,
Chat,
very,
chat.
very.
It's the morning. We like to chat.
Very.
It's a 20-minute
I just laughed at him.
chat.
in my coffee cup.
So like echoes.
Okay. All right, guys, let's get into the story of Hecate. I'm going to tell her story first before I get into all the things about her.
Mhm.
Long ago, in the time of the Titans, there was born a goddess unlike any other, Hecate, the daughter of Perses, the Titan of destruction, and Asteria, the Titaness of stars and prophecy, was destined to walk the paths that no other gods dared to tread. From her parents, she inherited power that was spanned the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. It was said that even Zeus himself granted her dominion over these three realms, recognizing her unmatched wisdom. Hecate's presence was always felt where the veil between worlds was thin. At night, mortals whispered her name as they passed crossroads, for it was at these intersections that her power was strongest. Her sacred black dogs would howl in the moonlight, and those who dared to seek her favor would leave offerings of honey, eggs, and bread at the edges of paths. One day, a cry echoed through the realms, a cry of despair and terror. Hecate, standing with her twin torches at a lonely crossroads, turned her gaze to the earth below and saw the young goddess Persephone being dragged into the underworld by Hades. Though the Olympians were blind to the act of Hecate, who could see what others could not, though the Olympians were blind to the act of Hecate, who could see her, she still heard Persephone's plea. For days, Demeter, Persephone's mother, roamed the earth, searching for her daughter. The crops withered, the famine threatened all living things. It was then that Hecate approached Demeter, her torches lighting the way. I heard her cries, Hecate said softly. I saw her taken to the underworld. Come, and I will guide you. Together, the two goddesses descended into the depths of Hades' realm. Hecate's light cut through the darkness, and her presence silenced the restless shadows. When they finally found Persephone, Hades, impressed by Hecate's courage, allowed her to become Persephone's companion. From that day forward, Hecate stood as protector of the young goddess, guiding her between the world of living and dead during her seasonal return. I'll probably cover Persephone because it's very interesting. As the years passed, Hecate's influence grew. She became known not only as a guide for lost souls, but also as a mistress of magic and the unseen. Mortals sought her wisdom, learned to call upon her during the dark moon, leaving offerings and lighting candles to honor her. She taught them the secrets of herbs and the mysteries of spells, showing them how to navigate the delicate balance of the world's energies. Hecate was not a goddess of chaos or destruction, but of transition and choices. She stood at every threshold, holding the keys that opened the doors between worlds, her three faces, one gazing to the past, one to the present, and one to the future, ensured that she saw all paths and all possibilities. To this day, those who seek guidance in times of uncertainty, those who walk between light and shadow, and those who honor the sacred mysteries called from Hecate, she remains a beacon in the dark, a guardian of the liminal, and the goddess whose power transcends time, space, and the boundaries of life and death. And so Hecate's story continues, carried on the whispers of the wind at the crossroads and the glow of torches that light the way for those willing to walk her path.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So she was born of Titans, which was before the gods.
Before the gods.
Yeah, so
gods are descendants of Titans.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Titans had gods, but she was born. It was like they're older. Okay. They're much older. Titans were huge.
Yes.
Like they have.
Giants.
Yes, they are giants. But they were much older.
Yeah.
You know. So let's get into. Sorry.
Who are the gods of Titans?
I don't know.
Oh shit!
I don't know.
I want to look into that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Huh.
I always thought Titans were just the ancient.
The old.
Well, yeah, like they were the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just were. Is like. So let's begin with Hecate's origins. She is often described as the daughter of Titans, Perses,
yes,
the god of destruction, and Asteria, which is, the Titaness of stars, oracles, and the night. She predates the Olympian gods. And even after Zeus and the Olympians overthrew the Titans, Hecate remained, my throat did something weird. Hecate retained her immense power. So you're fine. The Olympians overthrew the Titans. And then, so the Titans ruled. Zeus comes in with the Olympians. They overthrow the Titans. I don't know much about that. I think the movie 500 might this go on this one.
500.
There's a movie called 500. 300.
I was like, I remember 500, but I'd be interested to see what that's about. Yes, is Sparta.
Yeah, I think it has stuff to do with the Titans and the Olympians.
I think so.
So, but she remained. Zeus let her, Hecate, remain, and understood her power. So I guess Zeus would take people's power away. And again, this is just me kind of going off like bits and pieces. I haven't done like a ton of research, obviously. But he let her retain her immense power.
Okay.
Zeus himself honored Hecate in a unique way, granting her dominion over the heavens, the earth, the sea, and even the underworld. So we're talking everywhere.
Okay.
She is the only deity with such a vast realm of influence. This triple dominion sets her apart as a goddess of transitions, thresholds, and boundaries. Hecate's role as a liminal goddess makes her a guide, a protector, and a source of wisdom in times of change or uncertainty. She embodies the spaces between light and shadow, life and death, beginning and endings, which is interesting because that's exactly what a hedge witch is.
Mm-hmm.
They're in that space, the in-between space, and they deal with like the spirit world, but also the earthly world, and they're always in the, so I wonder if like hedge witches often...
Is a hedge witch similar to a druid?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Which I come from, I resonate, and I also come from Druidism, you know, and it's interesting because Hecate likes to call upon me quite, so
it's perfect.
Hecate's dominions are as multifaceted as the goddess herself. Let's break them down. The Crossroads. Hecate is famously associated with crossroads, which symbolize choices, transitions, and spiritual intersections. Shrines dedicated to her, called Hecatea, were often placed at these crossroads. Travelers and seekers would leave offerings such as food, garlic, and honey, asking for her guidance and protection. She also had the underworld. Hecate serves as a psychopomp. I asked for pronunciations of these things. Guiding souls between the worlds of the living and the dead. She is closely tied to Persephone's story, aiding her journey to and from the underworld. This association makes her a natural figure for necromancy or communication with spirits. Yeah. And then she has magic and witchcraft. Mm-hmm. Hecate is the ultimate goddess of magic, spells, and the mystical arts. Practitioners of witchcraft invoke her during rituals, particularly under the dark moon when the power is strongest. And then protection. As a guardian of thresholds, Hecate protects homes and doorways and spiritual spaces. Her torches light the way for those navigating darkness, whether literal or metaphorical, which I thought was interesting because I never thought ever when called like to invoke her for protection. It's never entered my brain.
That's true.
But it says that like she literally like, so I guess, with the fact that I work closely with spirits, I would work with her to protect me because that's her world, her domain. The moon. Hecate is closely tied to the moon, especially its dark and waning phases. This connection to lunar cycles reflects her role in intuition, mystery, and the unseen. Now, we're going to talk about epithets. I can't remember how to say it, and symbols. Let's talk about epithets. I meant to have the pronunciation in there. Epithets. I'm going to say epithets.
Epithet.
An epithet is a descriptive title or phrase that highlights a particular aspect or role of a deity. Think of them as poetic names that emphasize the many facets of a god or goddess. For Hecate, her epithets reveal the depth of her influence in the diverse roles that she plays. So, Propylaea, the one before the gate, emphasizes her role as a guardian of thresholds. Phosphorus, Lightbringer, and symbolizes her guidance through darkness. Enodia, goddess of the paths, underscoring her connection to the travel and spiritual journeys. And then Klidukos, holder of keys, representing her authority over transition and mysteries, meaning that she's going to have the authority to unlock the door for you or to lock the door against you, not come in there. Her symbols are equally as significant. Keys, representing her ability to unlock hidden knowledge and open doors between realms. Torches, illuminating the way through shadowy and unknown paths. Dogs.
I just had such a good idea.
Yeah.
We should, for Halloween, the theme should be deities, and we should all dress up like a
Yes.
deity.
Oh.
Like, you could have keys on you, or like
I'm
something.
locking that in. Yes.
Isn't this
I
so
think that
cool?
would be so, I think a deity party would
Yeah.
be so cool. Dogs, particularly black dogs, it made me think of
Aw.
bear, are sacred to her and symbolize loyalty, protection, and the spiritual connection between realms. So I know she's used her dogs to help bring spirits over into the underworld,
Okay.
is what, and then, but they're also her protection,
Yeah.
all of, so, sorry, someone
Remember
just
when?
texted.
Well, you were definitely getting signs from her, but I was like thinking I was watch it all because she likes bear.
Yeah, she's like,
I just
oh.
want to see your dog. All right.
Snakes. Snakes are representing
Okay.
transformation and wisdom are also tied to her.
She's giving Scorpio to me. I see that.
Yeah, no birthdays mentioned, so I don't know,
Yeah.
but they were born.
Yeah.
So just saying. Hecate's involvement in witchcraft. Let's really dive into this, okay? Hecate's connection to witchcraft is perhaps her most famous domain. Let's explore it. Ancient witchcraft. Hecate's role as the goddess of witchcraft dates back to ancient Greece. She was invoked in rituals involving necromancy, as she had dominion over the spirits of the dead, so bringing people back to life or
That's
the dead back to
crazy.
life. Divination, granting insight into the future through oracles, dreams, and rituals. Herbalism, with sacred plants such as garlic, yew, mugwort, and aconite being central to her magic.
Okay.
So those are her herbs.
Those are
Those are
her herbs.
her herbs that she uses. Crossroads magic, where offerings and rituals were performed to seek her favor. Crossroads were considered powerful spiritual intersections, and Hecate's presence was always strongest there. So I do know that you can go to a crossroads when it's, her time, when it's time to honor her time of the year. And you just leave like the things that she likes. I heard garlic, honey, just an offering at crossroads to her,
Okay. I wonder if that's like a common theme between any kind of deity, god, demon, whatever it be. Like, is a crossroad kind of like, because you know how they say that about like the devil? Like you.
But I also, yeah.
So like, I wonder if a crossroad is just representative of something.
Me too. Only because I know that I think Lilith has something to do with crossroads as well.
Yeah.
But I do know with Hecate, it's very specific about her helping you through like a time in your life.
Okay,
like,
that makes sense. Like,
when
there's
you
so many different paths.
Yes.
So
yeah.
she can help you.
And that's why she has her torches too.
Okay.
To light your way. Like,
that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. The Greek magical papyri, ancient collections of spells and rituals frequently reference Hecate. Her name was invoked for protection, summoning spirits, and achieving hidden knowledge. Then we go into medieval witchcraft. During the medieval period, Hecate was demonized by the Christian church, and she was associated with witches, Sabbaths, and so-called dark arts. Despite this, her presence persisted in all folk magic, where she was secretly invoked for healing, protection, and guidance. So here come the Christians in the medieval time, and they're like, and so before that, the Greeks accepted her. Like she was not evil.
Right.
She was
welcomed.
A deity, and she was welcomed, and they would all work with her. But then medieval times are like, oh no, she's a demon. That's where I was talking about how she's kind of represented as being dark. And so they demonized her, and then they had to secretly, people still work with her.
They just kept it.
They had to keep it secret. Yeah.
So like, where did Christianity stem from? Because like that had to have come from, I wonder if that stems from like a goddess, something. Like where
it has
did it come from?
That's the thing. When you hear about Christian faith, it says it comes from ancient scrolls in a cave. The Dead Sea Scrolls is what they talk about.
Oh.
Like there's these Dead Sea Scrolls that have writings about God and Jesus. But if you look at when you start like the story of Jesus, the story of God, it is literally the same across most religions.
Yes.
And it's like, so do I think that God is something? Yes. Yeah. But it's not like what these people.
Yeah.
And then Christianity evolved to control.
Right.
to
Right.
be able to take control,
Yes. Over
and yeah,
masses.
exactly,
Mhm.
over masses, to be able to control them.
Right.
Because I think that, here's my only thing is, I think that it's like, I think this, I don't say that everyone thinks this.
Right.
They could see that people were very spiritual from the beginning,
Yeah.
so how better to control somebody than
And making
creating
correct.
something that they can then slowly change.
Well, and also, like the great Wizard of Oz said,
Mm,
the best way to make people come together is to
install
have an
common
enemy.
enemy.
And who is that? The devil.
Yeah, the devil. But if you think about it, like they demonize witchcraft, right?
Yeah.
They give tithes, which is an offering to God. Okay. They take communion, which I've said before, which is taking a piece of bread and a little bit of grape juice and taking it and eating it. And that is them eating Jesus's blood and his body.
Which is like
Okay.
kind of weird.
It is weird, but it's fucking ritualistic.
It is very
It's
ritualistic. Well, and we've
ritualistic.
talked about with Catholicism in particular, it's very like with
The
the
sage ball
the
and the
yeah, like there's
sage
so
ball.
many. I know what you mean, but like there's so many like I think that is the blood of Christ and eating the wafer. That is Catholicism. I don't think that's in Christianity.
No, it is.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Sure is. I
I've
used to take
only seen
communion
that.
all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've been to like a Christian church and I've been to Catholic. The only one I saw at was a Catholic church.
Christians usually do it like once a month. They
Oh,
don't do it
okay.
every, like the
Okay.
Catholics do it way
Every
more.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every time. Christians do it once a month. They have
Okay.
like Communion Sunday. And then they pass out this little stack of silver trays
Yeah.
and you get your little grape juice. I remember as a kid, I was like, "Ooh, yay,
Yes.
yummy."
I know.
But you get your little grape juice and you
Yeah.
get your little wafer and then you have to say a prayer. I take your, flesh into my flesh. Fucking weird. I take your blood. Thank you, Jesus, for washing me with your blood. Like, fucking weird. You take this, ritual complete. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Definitely.
they have to. The church says you give God 10% of your earnings to the church for a tithe, an offering to God.
Right.
In the Bible, they would kill animals to God. They would drain them of their blood to God.
It's pretty sacrificial.
It's very sacrificial. It's very
Mm.
ritualistic,
Yes.
but they demonize witchcraft when it's mostly working with herbs.
Right.
The universe. It's
Yes.
not us going and killing everything. No,
No.
there is like some facets of it that I don't really particularly believe
Right.
in,
Yeah.
where they will use animals and do that stuff. That's not my deal,
No.
and I don't really agree with that. I
agree with I
don't
will not.
believe you should take a life to invoke anything into
Absolutely
your
not.
life, period.
Yep.
I feel like that's just like bad karma.
I do too. Yeah, that's a lot of similarities. So it
Yeah.
definitely had to come from somewhere. I kind of want to do some research and see on where that like stemmed, like if it was a specific god or goddess or something.
Like,
'Cause
how
it's,
did it evolve?
Yeah, how did it-
Or maybe it was that literally somebody was just
maybe
writing
it was just
down.
people, like
Yeah.
a person, just like
I always said that I think Jesus was like the first cult leader that was recorded, not that he's the first cult
Yeah.
leader,
Yeah.
going across everywhere, doing these miracles, people crowding him, wanting to just touch his robes.
Yeah.
Like, this is all like, I believe there is like actual recorded stuff from history in there. But I think a lot of it, again, is like analogy and,
Right.
things like that, to
Yeah.
follow. But then I think it evolved, right?
Yes.
And they're like, "Oh, we can control these people with this. So we're going to," and so then, it evolves to the Puritans and it evolves where, "Oh, we can control the women.
Right.
That's perfect."
Mhm.
Like,
Yes.
we get to control. Like, I watched this lady on TikTok. I'm going to go off on a thing here, but she was talking about how like monogamy
Mhm.
is actually just to
Control.
imprison women. Because then a man can say, "I'm going to be monogamous with you because you will only have my children. You will not have children from anywhere else. Only my children." And so they lock that uterus down
Yeah.
and they imprison the women so that way, because I'm not saying all men,
Right.
but men typically will go off and cheat.
And do
Why a
their
woman's
thing.
sitting there
That's true.
trying
Yeah.
to make the relationship work, do what they're
Yeah.
supposed to do,
Yeah.
And so that's what I thought. It was an interesting way to look at it,
It's very interesting.
because I can't say that's not completely, I think that like we as people got really smart because like in nature, they fight over who is going to impregnate that other animal,
Yes. Yeah. No, that's
they,
true.
and now not all the time, not every animal is like where they mate for life and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. But during that time, they're like, I need to fight
Yes.
to be able to
Yeah.
impregnate her,
Yeah.
like mine. And that's
Right.
like the biggest fight among them. But
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I know how to do this.
Yep.
We're going to make monogamy.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to look into how monogamy was like cultivated throughout the years. It's just very interesting. And how it's like really
Yeah.
is against women in a way,
Yeah.
like, and
Well,
how,
I feel kind of that way, and this is more in the context of like a heterosexual relationship. I feel
hmm
that way with marriage too.
yeah,
I feel like marriage, there's that crazy statistic where it said men like gain more from a marriage than a woman.
yes.
Like how women on average, I think it adds like an 8 extra hours a week to their things they have to do by being married to someone versus the man, like they benefit, they get things like maybe their clothes are washed for them, their food's shopped for, their, you know what I mean? Like,
And that is due to what society has set up of what marriage looks like.
right.
They have cultivated and set up, and I'm
Yes.
sorry, like I'm not like against men or anything, but like they have cultivated and set up like this is what a marriage is supposed to
Right.
look like. A
Well,
woman
and
is the homemaker.
that's part of religion, right?
It
Marriage.
is. It's completely.
So it's
There is
like,
Psalm 31 woman. It's a book in the Bible. It's called Psalm 31. She literally, this woman, which is a woman after God's heart,
mhm,
she does everything. She gets up well before her family, before it's even light out. And she basically does all this work for her husband to create and prepare for the day. And it's all about this like perfect woman. And when I was in the church, all these women are like, I want to be a Psalm 31 woman. I want to be a Psalm 31 woman. Like, and it was all about sacrificing everything in themselves for their family and for their husband.
ew.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like, I know. Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? Why do
I
you
get
want
up
that?
before light to go work myself
Yeah,
out.
you
It's
do it
for
for
me.
yourself.
Yeah. Like, but yeah, it was like this whole like sacrifice.
Right,
Like,
it's crazy.
but the women in the church would be like, oh, I just want to be a Psalm 31 woman. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, I'm good.
That's insane.
Yeah. But
Damn.
let me get back on
Okay,
to
sorry.
her. It's okay. It says that's what I
That's what
knew.
the podcast.
But I also knew that these topics were going to
Yes.
spur these kind of
Yes,
conversations, you know? So, talking about modern witchcraft,
Mhm.
okay? Today, Hecate is a beloved figure in modern witchcraft, Wicca, and paganism. She is seen as a protector of witches and a source of empowerment. Modern practitioners honor her with altars adorned with her symbols like keys, torches, and crescent moons.
Mhm.
Offerings such as garlic, honey, eggs, and wine, often left out at crossroads or sacred spaces. Dark moon rituals performed during the moon waning phase to connect with her energy and perform banishments or transformative magic. So if you're feeling like you need to transform your life. Hecate's Diepnon. I even have it there. It's Diepnon.
Oh, okay.
A ritual honoring her at the dark moon to cleanse negative energy and prepare for new beginnings. And I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to do that.
Mhm.
Like, you know, worship practices and sacred rituals. So Hecate's worship in both ancient and modern times is rich and varied. Diepnon rituals on the night of the new moon, devotees leave offerings at crossroads to honor Hecate to appease restless spirits.
Mhm.
Household shrines, small altars to Hecate were at doorways to kept at doorways to protect the home from malevolent forces. Again, malevolent forces.
Mhm.
Again, I didn't know she was protection.
Yeah, I didn't
And that's
either.
so interesting. I had no idea you could bring her for
I never knew
protection.
that.
Mystery cults. Hecate played a key role in mystery traditions such as those in Eleusis, where initiates sought spiritual transformation under her guidance. In modern times, Hecate is more relevant than ever. She has become a symbol of empowerment, like I said, particularly for witches, feminists,
Mhm.
and those undergoing personal transformations. Her connection to the liminal resonates with people navigating life's uncertainties, seeking guidance, and embracing their own power. Practitioners revere her as a guide in the shadow work. So when you're doing shadow work, she's someone to bring in.
Mhm.
A process of confronting and integrating the hidden aspects of oneself. So when you're dealing with like,
Conflict.
yep,
Internal
or like internal
conflict.
conflict,
Yeah.
like really dealing with yourself, she's
Yeah.
someone to bring in. She is a goddess of wisdom, transformation, and resilience. Hecate's legacy as a goddess of witchcraft, thresholds, and mystery continue to inspire and captivate. She is a reminder of power that lies in the shadows and the spaces between and the choices we all make in life's crossroads. So it's kind of the journey of the world of Hecate.
Mhm.
Um, So I like to just kind of end with this, like, may her light guide you, her keys unlock your path, and her wisdom help you embrace your power.
I love that. Dude, she's cool as hell.
She's fucking
I always knew
cool.
she was cool, but like I like her a lot more after.
But it also makes, yeah, I like her too. But it also makes sense as to why everyone's like, oh God, I don't want to work with her, because it means you're working with the inner parts of yourself
That are scary
that you don't want to confront.
Yes.
So that's why people are like, please God.
It's like, oh no.
I knew working with her was not easy.
Right.
But now it makes sense to me. It's because you're working with yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to confront parts of yourself that you're like,
Absolutely.
I don't want to confront.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was
Yep.
really, eye-opening to know that she's not this like, which I wasn't afraid of her, but she's not this like, just going to bring hard shit to your life.
I remember when you were saying how you were thinking that she may have been like reaching out. You're like, oh God.
Yes.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh no, girl.
Because that's what you hear all the time,
Yeah.
Like she wants to work with you. Oh fuck,
What did I do?
But in my mind, it was like, oh, she's going to bring hard shit to my life to figure out. But it's really about like, you are bringing hard, it's time to confront.
Yeah.
It's time to really dive into yourself.
She is the equivalent of the tower card.
She is. She is.
I am the master of getting tower cards. I'm like, can we like that?
But I really think I love the idea of evoking her for protection. Like for some reason, reading about her, like I'm like, to me, she sounds more protective than most things to me. I was like, because she walks all the realms.
Yeah.
She is ahead, above all things, underworld, above world, crossroads. Like to me, who else would you want to bring in for protection? She sees everything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm more apt to work with her.
Yeah.
Because I think that's cool as hell.
I think she's cool as hell. Like I was like, my God, the fact that the Olympians took over the Titans and Zeus left her in her power. What does that tell you? This god, by the way, this man god, I've heard things about Zeus. I don't know everything, but he's very misogynistic.
He's like father figure.
But he's also very misogynistic.
Like typical father figure.
Yes, yeah. But the fact that he left her, a woman, a deity, in her full power, this tells me that she has, like, Hecate has so much knowledge. She has so much understanding. And that she, I think, has a lot of power that I think she could have took out the Olympians.
Yeah, I agree.
So I am very much on the path of, like, I'll work with you. I already started, but like I'm going to use her for protection now. I'm going to really tap into her because she represents all the things that I've recently gone through so much like stuff inside of me and working through, and then I work with spirits, and then, I just think I don't know. I read about her and I was like, okay, I have full understanding. I think it's almost like now that I have full understanding, I'm like, okay, now I can absolutely work with you because I understand who you are,
Oh, 100%. Who was I saying that I was thinking about?
Shit.
Oh, man.
No. Let me think.
Oh, Hades.
Yes, Hades.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he's underworld.
Yeah.
So he's the god of the underworld. Yes. So it's interesting that,
I think we'll do Hades. I'll cover Hades.
And then I'm going to do Persephone. We're going to keep it all underworld.
Oh,
she's the queen of the underworld, but she's also the deity of spring.
Oh.
So I'm going to we'll keep it going with the underworld aspect first.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then if we even went with Hermes, he's underworld.
Okay.
He works with underworld. Like it's interesting, like the parts that work with underworld, but I think if you're going to do Hades, I'm going to do Persephone.
I'm doing Hades. I'll cover Hades.
Her story's interesting.
I'm excited.
And Hecate.
I love this idea.
Because Hades, you'll find out, fell in love with Persephone.
Yes.
And there's differing stories. Like Persephone fell in love with Hades. There's other stories that say he like raped her and dragged her down there. It's whatever story you want to believe.
Well, hey, fitting. That's dark.
But because she was the queen of spring, like the goddess of spring, Hecate is the one who she would come because Persephone can't travel freely because that's not her realm.
Right.
So Hecate lights her way and takes her at all the seasons. So when it's spring, Persephone comes out, brings spring in, then goes back down to the underworld to rule with her king.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. And is Hades the devil?
No,
I'm saying in religion, is he?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
If you're asking me what I think,
no. I know that. But like, in his Zeus god. These are things that are like.
Well, it's like put out even with Disney. Like in Hercules.
Yep.
I mean, he's supposed to be like the devil.
Yeah.
You know?
But then what does that make Zeus? God.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I that just like things like this are starting to like as I'm reading about I'm like, and again, I studied all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like all of it. Odyssey, I was
Zeus
into all of that.
was a Titan, right? What? Because
He was
at least
from
based off of
I think he was
Hercules.
part Titan.
That's what it is.
His
Then.
dad was a Titan.
Yes.
His mom was Olympian, I believe.
Okay, then that's what it. Because I
Again,
remember
this
like
is me. I know his dad was a Titan because Hades and Zeus came from the same
yes,
father who was a Titan.
right.
And the mother was a goddess. Because I think a Titan, even though it's like deity, I don't think they're like considered to be gods and goddesses. Like Titan is and Titaness is their name, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but they are gods and goddesses.
Yeah.
It's very interesting and like confusing.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say that Hecate has been celebrated in Egypt as well. Like um sorry, I was reading all the places that people worship her.
Yeah.
Egypt, anything Celtic, she's worshipped there, but she's called other things like Morgana. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you look, they're actually just called other
Oh.
things. Same with in Egypt, she's worshipped over there. In Scandinavian countries, like she's literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I think Egyptian, like ancient Egypt and Greek know some shit.
They
So
do.
like anything that they kind of followed, I feel like you know what I'm trying to
No,
get at. don't know
I
how
feel
to-
like
don't know
it's
how to
more
word it
legit.
good,
I
but-
feel like they were closer to the truth than where we are ever at.
yeah.
You know, like
At
even
least in
though
the past, maybe not
yeah,
necessarily.
no, not right now, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like they are closer to the truth than we
Yes.
have ever been.
Yeah.
You know, and we kind of evolved like the white man. We like kind of evolved ourselves again into control. Like that's
Yeah.
where so you know, you can't have knowledge for control. You have to keep the people sheep, you know.
Yes.
And so they took, but I think back then, even though there was still control, like if you look up the Greek, you know, empire and all that, there's definitely control, but I think there's a lot more freedom of what you worshiped.
Right. Spiritual
Other control
freedom.
going on, but yeah, a lot of spiritual freedom and a
Yeah.
lot of sexual freedom.
Yes.
When I read books on the Roman culture and like Greek culture, like a lot of sexual freedom. Sometimes maybe a little too much.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
That was a
I
little
don't know
too
that
much.
one.
A little too much. But it was like really like a
a
lot
lot,
out
yeah.
there. Yeah, like a lot of those kind of freedoms.
A
But
lot of orgies,
a lot
I think.
a
A lot of orgies.
lot of not good stuff, a lot of orgies.
Olive
A lot of
oil.
interesting things, and I'm going to say something really controversial. Like if they had like the people, if they had daughters and they didn't need any more daughters, they would just put them on rocks to die. Okay, so I'm going to say something like it's awful, right? It's horrible because as humans, we are conditioned to have that compassion and stuff. But I just have to, I'm going to say something really controversial. What if they weren't where we are now? Like, what if they were closer to being more like nature, right? Like, I can't utilize this creature, so I need
see
to
what
put
you're
her
saying.
off,
It's
you
more
know?
like, okay, I know you didn't like the new Alien movie, but it's like Andy.
Yeah.
Andy's very like, this is what you have to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Kinda
I'm
like the
saying.
spirit guide.
Yeah.
You know, they're very like matter of
They
fact.
don't have a lot of emotions. They're like, no, this is what you got to do, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But now, interesting things, a lot of times when these like higher ups would put the girls on, like slaves would come and take them, not because they were being kind, because they were creating more people to do work.
So the slaves were creating more slaves.
Yes.
Okay.
They were bringing them, I don't know if they were mistreated, but they would go to the rocks, take these babies to raise them so they
Wow.
had more manpower,
Okay.
essentially. So it was like this working, like, it's just interesting because you read back then, you're like, oh my God, they need God. That's what people say all the time. But I'm like, what if it's just that they were so much closer to how we were, like in their thought process to what is like nature, that the
Yeah.
emotions were out. Not that I'm saying it's right.
No, it makes sense though, because when you look at nature, like animals, they do that.
That's what they do.
Stuff.
We were-
So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, 'cause
that makes sense.
We were talking about hamsters.
Yes.
And if a hamster's super stressed, or like a bunny, if they know that having these babies is going to bring like a predator,
Right.
they'll kill themselves. They'll
Yeah.
just kill them off.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because they're like, oh, my poor babies, you know, to
Yeah.
eat them. It's like,
Right.
I think they're saying, I need to get rid of this
Yeah.
because
the
this
best
is going to
of
bring a predator my
everything.
way. Like,
Yeah.
like I just think
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
interesting, you know?
Yes. I was I don't know if you've ever heard this guy. Probably, I know you're not like a huge YouTube person, but this
I'm getting
guy's
there, by the way. I'm
Daily
getting there.
Stoic. I think you would absolutely love him. He focuses a lot of like stoicism and a lot I
Okay.
just absolutely love him. And his last it wasn't the last video he posted, but I watched one and it was about why narcissistic rulers don't last. I think you see where I'm getting at here. I don't think I need to specify anything for people who get what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
But he talks about Nero.
Oh,
Good golly God above. That
I've
man was
studied him.
fucking wild.
Yeah,
He murdered his wife.
absolutely.
And then made a slave and castrated him and made
Yep.
him look and dress like his wife that he
Yep.
killed.
Yep. Sure did.
What?
He was
What
like,
the fuck?
woohoo. Like,
Ooh, but I love because he always goes back to, he's read like a million books on this stuff. He's written a bunch of books on stoicism. And I love how he correlates that into like current day. And it's just really like, he's just so poetic with like his words. He's just awesome.
will you send them to me? Because
Yes.
I am getting more and more
Yeah.
into YouTube. I'm now
absolutely
watching
love
The
him.
Squeeze. I love that
Yeah. Oh,
podcast
I
you
love
sent me.
the
I
Taylor
love
Lautner one.
them.
Yeah.
Yes. But I love that one you sent me about
Oh
just
my
let
God.
them. Like, I'm like,
It's so true. It's so like, it is freeing once you just are like, okay.
did you start getting a chance to listen to Esther?
I haven't listened to her yet, but I've got
She
it
has a
on my watch
lot of
later.
stuff. So it's
Yeah.
not even just on that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even, she has so much stuff and
Yeah.
she's so
I have to send
interesting how she
you-
breaks it down.
Yeah, I want to listen to her, and then I'm gonna send you the it's a podcast I listen to. It's not a reoccurring person, but he has different like professions on every time. And the one with the orgasm.
Yes.
expert,
Yeah.
she's
Send
really
that to
cool.
me.
She sounds like very similar, kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just love it. I don't know.
I
how we
love
got here.
learning.
I
I'm
do
just in
too.
this, like, I always love learning, but I'm like in this real big, like, learning new thoughts, like
Well, that
evolving my
is-
thoughts and
You
evolving.
are a Sag moon. Sag is all about expansion and knowledge. And
Yes.
So, I mean, hell yeah.
I
I love it. I am like, so I just want to learn all day long. That's all I wanna
Astrology,
do.
like, it's kind of an astounding me, and I know we're not going, we're gonna be a longer one, but astrology is just really kind of astounding me lately. Cause like, yeah, like how kind of spot on. We were taking the Myers-Briggs personality test.
Yeah.
And scientists say that the Myers-Briggs is like not really like not really something to take validity in or whatever, because like we're going to look at it and we're going to be like, it's called some kind of I forget what it's called, but we're going to read what we want to read from it. But I'm like,
I
it just doesn't.
disagree.
I disagree too.
I disagree fully because mine is so
Same.
me.
Same. But they're saying that no matter what you read, it's going to be so you. But I was
That's
like,
not true
no.
because I've read
Thank
others,
you.
and I'm like, I don't correlate with that at all.
Thank you. Because wait, I remember one time, and I forget what it was. I think we were first reading my chart, and or maybe it was something was off, and I was like, that doesn't sound like me. But if there was something off and it wasn't the correct sign,
I remember, yes.
And then
yeah.
when we did it correct, it was like,
yes,
that's spot on. But I
Yes.
didn't hear that first thing and go, oh yeah,
that's
that's
me.
me. Like
Right.
I was like, something's weird. Like that doesn't
Yep.
sound like me. Why am I not like
Yes.
that? Turns out I'm super attracted to myself. It said,
A
what?
Sagittarius?
Yeah.
Oh.
It said like I was like ENFP or something like that, and
That
then
makes sense that you're
Huh?
That makes sense that you're an E.
I am. I'm an E.
I'm an I.
Liz and I. Yeah, that's so funny. And then what I'm attracted to is exact same numbers
Yes.
as me, which is so interesting. But then I love the other one where it's like actualize, like what you would prefer
Yeah.
to be. Mine's almost exactly the same, but then there's
You're
a
like,
J.
I want to be me.
But then there's a J, like where I want a little bit more like structure. I wish I could be a little bit more structured,
Yeah.
and which maybe that's my Virgo self coming
Yes.
out, because like part of me prefers like, to have be rational
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was interesting because I was like, I wonder if that's like my Virgo
I wonder
part
if
of me
that's
like
why
coming
we get
out.
along so well, because mine, you know how they put it into like different like categories of people. Like there's the Myers-Briggs, but then they have like mine is logician. I'm the logician, and like that makes sense to me because I'm just always
Wait, what
logical
was-
brain over here.
I know, and I am so not logical
I
brain
hear me.
ever. Let me pull up mine really fast because I had it saved, I'm pretty sure. Oh,
Mine
also,
is
I was
am
watching this
something.
old ass movie. Well, it was 1959, and this was on the wall. To be a real woman is to bring out the best in a man. That was on a wall in a
Oh
movie.
my god.
Like, it was in her daughter's
Why is
room
that
on a wall.
such a thing for that
I
time?
was cracking. Okay, so I am ENFP, and I'm called the journalist.
That makes sense. Dude, it's kind of like what we do with the podcast.
But I want to be at ENFJ, which is the persuader.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
But
is-
I'm attracted to me.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I don't know. How did you find that? What you're
I'll send it. It's in this whole thing we took. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
It was
send
it's like the Myers-Briggs, but it has this other part that's like, what
That's
are you
cool.
attracted to? What
Yeah.
kind of things do you like? And then this one is your preferred type, which is like, what do you prefer?
Yeah,
And I want to be a journalist,
Yeah.
you know.
that's funny.
It was very,
Mine is INTP.
I think Liz is IN. Oh, interesting. Yeah, mine's like
INTP.
uncanny sense of motivation of others. Life is an exciting drama.
Oh my god.
And then my preferred type is outstanding leader of groups, can be aggressive at helping others to be the best that they can be,
Yep,
which is so
that's you.
interesting because I said I wanted to get into
Yes.
life coaching.
Yes,
And I think,
that is you. 100%.
Yeah. yeah,
100%.
yeah. So anyways, it was interesting.
That's so
But I
funny.
think it's bullshit that, like, I get science. I appreciate science. But I was saying this to Liz. I think there is a part where you can rationalize anything to the point of it not existing anymore. Like, you can sit there in the brain and be like, oh, I'm going to rationalize. You can literally rationalize anything
death,
out to where all of a sudden it has no meaning anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of companies that actually have you take the Myers-Briggs,
Yeah.
and I think that's cool. I feel like I would do some shit like that if I was a CEO. I'd be doing your astrology.
I would be asking for charts.
I would be
What's your
doing
chart?
I'd be doing your Myers-Briggs because like you want them to do the best with what skills they have.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's bad. And I think people would prefer that.
Yeah.
I would prefer it.
I
I'd be like,
would.
what is my strong
Are
suit
you
put me
leading?
in that kind of position?
Yeah. And it's funny because like the therapist that we got, she's very much into understanding your personality.
Yes.
And, and I really
so
love
important.
that. And then some other people called her hippy dippy. And I'm like, I like hippy dippy because like, and even with me wanting to get certified and start life coaching,
Yeah.
I will absolutely be like, give me your astrology chart.
100%.
I need to have it because I need to see it before I even start deciding how we need to, and then we can talk. But
Yep.
first thing will
I need to
be
know how you operate.
how do you operate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a Myers-Briggs, give me your astrology chart, and then we're going to go ahead and crack into things because
100%.
that's what I was like, that's my whole point is like when I was really getting it, because with you was when I really got into astrology. And I was like, this makes so much sense. And then, because I always said, like, I'm such a Sag. I'm
Yes, you
like
are.
a Sag
Big
to a
time.
core. But there was that part of me, which is my Virgo part that comes out. I mean, my Venus is Sag. My moon is Sag.
You're very
Like, I'm very Saggy. But there was this part of me that kind of went a little bit pivoting away from being a Sag. And I'm like, what is that? And it's my Virgo because it's my rising, So it's like coming in like strong.
Yeah.
So there comes I need things organized. I need things, but then my Sag is like, what? And then my own brain's like, no.
No. We can't do that.
We're gonna
Let's not be.
let's organize it first,
Let's be smart.
Yeah.
Let's think this through.
So it's like a war in my own head.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I've always said how I've noticed when I do people's charts who I call it your big three, your sun, moon, rising, when they all are cohesive. And by cohesive, I mean, so air and fire go together just like air and air, fire and fire, and then water and earth and earth, water, water. You get what I'm saying. I've noticed when there is a difference in your big three, there is a lot of turmoil between yourself versus people like I'm balanced with mine. And I feel like I'm pretty like...
You're balanced.
Pretty... I don't know the word. Balanced, I guess. Is
even
the right
keeled.
Word. Yeah.
You really are.
I've noticed that people who have that as their big three, tend to be more balanced. And then not that one is better than the other. There's no...
Yeah, because I have earth and fire.
Yeah.
So isn't Virgo earth? Yeah, Virgo's earth. So I have earth and fire, which is like...
So you do have that like conflict sometimes.
I do.
I think that brings out different qualities. I don't think that that's bad.
No.
So I think cohesion is probably not the word to use. But it is, I have always resonated so strong with astrology because like, and anybody that anybody who says like, oh, you can't be 12 personalities. That's not how it is. Like I said, you have a whole ass birth chart in all different houses. It's not even just your big three.
No.
It's so many different things. There's so many different facets. Your houses, there's 12 houses, and like
Yes.
what
And what they're
astrology you
ruling.
have. And yes, it's when you go into that, it's so crazy, crazily spot on, I feel like. So
It was for me. It really
I think a
was.
lot of people are getting into it though. I think a lot more
They
people are
are.
like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that makes sense about me.
Because when you really delve into it, you're like
Yeah.
kind of you're like, okay, wait, it's not that I'm broken. It's
No,
because
it's
I'm
this makes sense.
this totally makes
It's like
sense.
with Venus, okay, so you have like your Venus, which is your love, how you show your
Yes.
love, sex, like all that. Well, Mars is also sex too. It's anger and sex. So
I think Venus is more love and sex. Like it's more
yeah,
of that side of things than
it's more romance
yeah,
side.
romance, yeah.
So mine is Scorpio. Makes sense. Big time. Big time for me. I'm like, okay, get that. Because I sent you that song that I was listening to. I'm
Yes.
like, my Scorpio Venus is showing with this. I'm like, this is the most romantic thing ever. And then I looked at, for anybody, most people don't know Say Anything. They're not that
Yeah.
huge, but I love them. I was like, his name's Max Bemis, and I'm like, his words are just like so like I just love his lyrics he uses in all of his songs, and I was like, I gotta look at his birth chart. He's a Pisces Venus. So I'm like, okay, that makes a
Oh.
lot more sense with like his lyrics and where his head's at. So
Very
I'm like,
idealistic
yes,
in his love. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, big
yeah.
time. He's got a lot
Interesting.
of problems. He's got a lot of problems, but he's amazing, and
Yeah.
I love his lyrics. But yeah, so then Mercury, your communication. My communication is Sag. I'm a Sagittarius.
I don't know
Mercury.
what mine is.
I
You
can
have
tell
my
you.
chart. I know you have my chart.
Oh my god, the other day I was like looking through because I have every single person I have ever met, their birth chart is in my phone.
That's
And I'm like, I just have to.
You know, I saw
Yours
this
is Capricorn.
Oh. What is Capricorn? Earth?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh.
I could see that. I feel like that makes sense because you're very like put together with your words. Like very in order.
I
I
don't
feel
always
like
feel that way, but thank you.
you
I
are.
appreciate you.
I feel like you are.
I appreciate
So
that. It's interesting because it's interesting. It's interesting. I saw this TikTok and it was like how you know you really love somebody like a friend. And they're like when you listen, when people are talking about this, like astrology and you hear their sign, you listen in. And I
yes.
do that all the time with you. I'm always like, oh,
Yep.
Gemini, but I always go Gemini
Yep.
for you.
Me
That's
too.
what I do all the time. I'm
Well,
like,
it
oh,
makes sense
Gemini,
because yes, I'm a Sagittarius sun, but I have my Gemini in my moon and ascending.
Yeah.
So I definitely relate more to
Yeah.
Gemini.
Yeah. So anytime I hear Gemini, I'm always like sending you
Yes.
like,
Yep.
but it's funny because they're like saying that. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's so true.
Yep.
That's really true.
Yep.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah.
I feel like
My Venus is Sag.
yes, yours is yes. Yeah.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
Oh,
100%.
hundo.
But our communication, because like I was, ours is technically differing. Like you have a earth and I have a fire way of communicating. But I feel like Capricorn is kind of like the fire sign of earth.
It's
And
on
like
the edge.
they're both very direct.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I like. And sometimes I've been told I'm very cold. And I feel like that makes sense with Sagittarius because Sagittarius is very like direct. Like tell me like what I don't like elusive, like
And those signs are so closely
mhm,
aligned,
mhm.
that is, I can see why
Yeah.
it's like kind of flows in.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's very on the verge, like
Yes.
earth fire kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I'm always like, I always get you. I
yeah.
just get you.
Same.
So I'm always like, yeah,
That makes sense.
like it never offends me. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like we're both like, yeah,
Yep.
uh-huh,
But that's also
good.
Capricorn. Capricorns are that way. They're
Yeah.
very like, and then Sagittarius also. I feel like
Yeah.
they're both not judgy in that
No,
aspect. So
no.
I think that that's probably what it is. All right. Sorry about the tangent.
Yeah, it was. I like
Sorry.
these kind of. I don't care. Not sorry though, because I like these kind of podcasts that like
I do
bring
too. I like
thought.
listening to them.
Like me
So
too, because it
yeah.
brings out thought, and you're like, oh, wait a second, So I love podcasts like this, and I hope that as we go through
Mhm.
the different deities, that it does like bring out conversation about different aspects of ourselves, because I think that's what it's so closely aligned to.
Yeah.
Is that you're so closely aligned to like why you want to work with a deity, like
Mhm.
what do they represent that you like to call in.
Yeah.
Like when a Hecate, I was
Yeah.
like, she made so much more sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, makes sense.
I think I'm really excited to do Hades. Because, like, although, yes, he's supposed to be like the devil, I feel like I've always been kind of like intrigued by him.
Very
And
intrigued.
especially with Hercules as a kid, I was like,
Yeah.
Hades is kind of iconic.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie.
And
Some
that
people listen
after
well.
reading Lore Olympus and like
Yeah.
other things on Hades, like he's a very interesting, like
I think
he's
he's
gonna
a
be one.
misunderstood
That's what
character.
I was gonna say. I think he's totally misunderstood.
And I feel like I vibe with misunderstood
You
people,
do.
and I
You
can't
do.
wait to get along with him. What the hell?
Oh. Oh, you're gonna go get along with him.
Here goes my Scorpio Venus. No, I'm kidding. I can't wait to like dive in and like get to know about him.
Yeah.
You know,
And then I will go and do his queen after.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll do his queen. I didn't
I
even.
will cover his queen. And then, because that is his love of his life and the
Yes.
history of things.
Hell yeah. Well,
All
I'm
right.
excited. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for listening. Sorry about the tangent, but also not sorry.
Hope you got something from it. I hope
Yeah.
you will go and explore and learn something from it. I
Yeah.
hope it opens your mind to new possibilities. Like if you're
Absolutely.
listening, that's what I hope.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
all right,
well, thank
guys.
you so much for listening. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.